Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something we don't often think about, yet it shapes our relationships, our work, and even our sense of self, what we choose to share and what we don't. Now, I want to be clear. I believe in the power of vulnerability. I believe in courageous conversations and deep connections. But here's the thing: vulnerability without boundaries is not courage. It's chaos. Have you ever met someone who shares everything, their fears, their frustrations, their personal struggles with anyone who will listen? At first, it might seem like they're being open and honest. But over time, you start to notice something. Their energy is drained. They feel exposed. And sometimes, they regret sharing too much with the wrong people. Smart people understand that not everything is meant for public consumption. They practice discernment, the ability to know what to share, when to share it, and with whom. Setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out, it's about deciding who gets a seat at our table. Smart people know that their time, energy, and emotional well-being are limited resources. They don't share everything because they understand that some things need to be processed privately before being spoken publicly. In our world of social media and instant sharing, we are often tempted to broadcast every thought, every frustration, every moment of our lives. But smart people know that wisdom is in restraint. Not every emotion needs a stage. Some things are meant for trusted friends, mentors, or even just our own personal reflection. Trust is a slow and intentional process. It's not given freely, it's earned. Smart people are selective about who they share their deepest thoughts and emotions with. They understand that not everyone is capable of holding their stories with care. And that's okay. There's a difference between sharing for connection and sharing for validation. Smart people share with intention. They don't give away every idea, every plan, every piece of insight just because someone asks. They understand that sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is hold on to your wisdom until the right moment. So, what can we take away from this? Sharing is important. Vulnerability is powerful. But both require wisdom. Boundaries are not barriers, they are filters. And when we learn to share with intention, we don't just protect ourselves, we create stronger, healthier, and more meaningful connections. This speech is designed to be educational and impactful while keeping a signature mix of warmth, wisdom, and storytelling. Let me know if you'd like any refinements. Here's an expanded version of the Power of Boundaries section with more depth, examples, and a conversational tone in the style of. Boundaries are one of the most misunderstood concepts when it comes to relationships, leadership, and personal well-being. We hear the word boundaries, and often, we think of walls, something rigid, something that keeps people out. But the truth is, boundaries aren't barriers, they're the framework that allows us to have healthier, more meaningful connections. If you've ever felt exhausted after a conversation, regretted oversharing something personal, or found yourself caught in emotional exhaustion from carrying other people's burdens, it's likely that your boundaries were unclear. And here's the thing. Smart people, those who navigate life with intention and emotional intelligence, understand that boundaries are not just about self-protection. They're about self-respect. They don't share everything because they recognize that energy, time, and emotions are finite resources, and if we give too much of them away to the wrong people or at the wrong time, we're left feeling depleted. Imagine you have a beautiful garden. You've spent years tending to it, planting seeds of wisdom, experience, and personal growth. If you leave the gate wide open, allowing anyone and everyone to walk through, some people might admire the beauty, but others might trample the flowers. Not because they mean harm, but because they don't understand the value of what they're walking on. Boundaries are like that gate, not there to keep people out entirely, but to ensure that those who enter understand and respect what they are stepping into. Smart people don't share everything because they know that not everyone deserves access to their inner world. It's not about being secretive or distant, it's about discernment. It's about recognizing who has earned the right to hear your stories, who will handle your vulnerabilities with care, and who will support you rather than exploit or misunderstand you. Many of us struggle with this because we've been conditioned to believe that openness equals authenticity, and that sharing everything with everyone is a sign of honesty. But in reality, oversharing can sometimes be a sign of insecurity. When we share without boundaries, we might be seeking validation rather than connection. We might be looking for someone else to affirm our worth instead of knowing, deep in our bones, that we are enough even without external approval. There's a difference between vulnerability and oversharing. Vulnerability is sharing something personal with someone who has earned your trust, knowing that they will honor it. Oversharing, on the other hand, is putting something deeply personal out into the world without considering whether the audience is capable of holding it with care. And that distinction matters because the way people respond to what we share affects our emotional well-being. Smart people know this. They don't overshare because they understand that not everyone is emotionally mature enough to hold space for them. They also recognize that when they share something deeply personal, they are opening themselves up not just to support but also to judgment, unsolicited advice, and sometimes even dismissal. And that can be painful. So, they are intentional. They ask themselves, is this the right time? Is this the right person? What am I hoping to get out of this? And if the answers don't align with a sense of safety and mutual respect, they hold back not out of fear, but out of wisdom. This applies not just to personal relationships but also to professional settings. Have you ever been in a meeting where someone shares a little too much about their struggles, their fears, their insecurities, and it leaves everyone feeling a little uncomfortable? It's not that their emotions aren't valid, it's that the setting might not be appropriate for that level of disclosure. Smart people recognize that vulnerability in the right context builds trust, but vulnerability in the wrong context can undermine credibility. Think about leaders you admire. The best leaders don't overshare their struggles in a way that makes others question their ability to lead. Instead, they share with purpose, using their experiences to teach, to inspire, and to connect without burdening others with their emotional weight. That's what boundaries look like. Boundaries also play a crucial role in emotional energy management. Every time we engage in a conversation, give advice, or listen to someone else's problems, we are giving away a piece of our energy. If we're not careful, we can end up emotionally drained, carrying burdens that were never ours to carry in the first place. Smart people understand this, so they set limits. They don't allow themselves to be emotional dumping grounds for others, and they don't feel obligated to share their struggles with everyone just because they ask. They know that their emotional energy is sacred and that protecting it allows them to show up fully in the areas of life that truly matter. The beauty of boundaries is that they actually deepen relationships rather than weaken them. When we have clear boundaries, we are able to engage with others in a way that is sustainable. We are not constantly overextending ourselves, nor are we building up resentment from feeling drained. Instead, we are making conscious choices about where we invest our emotional energy, which leads to deeper, more fulfilling connections. Another important aspect of boundaries is learning to say no. Smart people don't say yes to every request, every invitation, or every opportunity to share. They understand that saying no is not a rejection of others, it's an affirmation of their own priorities. They don't feel guilty for protecting their time, their peace, or their emotional bandwidth because they know that in order to be their best selves, they need to be selective about what they give their energy to. And here's the paradox: when we respect our own boundaries, others respect them too. When we model self-care, people learn that our time and energy are valuable. When we demonstrate that we don't need to share everything to be authentic, we create space for deeper, more intentional connections. So, the next time you feel the urge to share something deeply personal, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, is this the right time? Is this the right person? What am I hoping to gain from this? If the answers don't align with a sense of emotional safety and purpose, it's okay to hold on to that piece of yourself a little longer. Because boundaries aren't about withholding love or connection, they are about ensuring that when we do share, it is in a way that is meaningful, reciprocal, and safe. That is the wisdom of boundaries. And that is why smart people never share everything. Not everything we think, feel, or experience is meant to be shared with an audience. In a world that encourages us to document every moment, to post our thoughts as soon as they arise, and to seek validation through likes, comments, and engagement, it's easy to believe that everything we go through deserves to be seen and acknowledged by others. But smart people understand that some things are meant to be held close, processed privately, or shared only with those who have earned the right to hear them. Not everything deserves an audience, and recognizing this truth is one of the most powerful steps towards self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. We live in an age of oversharing, where social media has blurred the line between what is personal and what is public. Every thought, every frustration, every fleeting emotion can be broadcasted within seconds. And yet, the more we share, the more we can find ourselves feeling unseen, unheard, and disconnected. Why? Because true connection isn't built on the quantity of what we share, it's built on the quality and intention behind our sharing. Smart people understand this distinction. They know that sharing their thoughts and experiences isn't about gaining an audience but about deepening relationships with the right people. They recognize that just because they have something to say doesn't mean it needs to be said publicly. There is a difference between speaking to connect and speaking to be seen. When we share with intention, we do so because we trust that the people receiving our words will hold them with care. But when we share for the sake of being noticed, we hand over our sense of self-worth to an audience that may not truly see us. And that's dangerous. It means that our emotional well-being becomes dependent on external reactions, on how many people validate our experiences, on how they respond, or whether they respond at all. The truth is, not everyone is capable of understanding our struggles, and not everyone is equipped to offer the support we need. When we put our thoughts and vulnerabilities into the wrong hands, we risk being misunderstood, judged, or dismissed. And over time, that can erode our confidence and make us question our own experiences. Smart people avoid this trap. They take time to consider their words before they share them. They ask themselves, why am I sharing this? What do I hope to gain? Is this the right space for this conversation? Is this the right audience? They are intentional because they understand that words have power, and once they are released, they cannot be taken back. They recognize that some thoughts are fleeting and don't need to be voiced, while others are deeply personal and deserve a more thoughtful, private discussion. They are not withholding their truth, they are protecting it. There is also an element of self-respect in knowing what deserves an audience and what doesn't. When we share everything, our struggles, our frustrations, our personal challenges with anyone who will listen, we give away pieces of ourselves without ensuring they will be treated with care. Not everyone is entitled to know the details of our inner world. Not everyone has earned that level of trust. And when we share indiscriminately, we risk giving weight to voices that don't deserve influence over our lives. Think about moments of deep personal struggle. There is a difference between confiding in a trusted friend or mentor, someone who truly sees and understands you, and sharing those struggles with a wide audience that may not have your best interests at heart. The first option leads to meaningful connection and support. The second can lead to unwanted opinions, surface-level empathy, or even criticism that adds to your burden rather than lightens it. Smart people recognize that when they do share, it should be with people who can hold space for them, not with an audience that may be watching for entertainment, judgment, or curiosity rather than genuine care. Another reason not everything deserves an audience is that some thoughts and emotions need time to settle before they are shared. In moments of frustration or pain, it can be tempting to immediately vent, to tell the world what's on our mind, to seek validation, or to express raw emotions without fully processing them. But smart people understand that speaking from a place of reaction rather than reflection can lead to regret. What feels urgent in the moment may feel different after some time has passed. They practice patience, allowing themselves to sit with their emotions before deciding whether those emotions need to be shared at all. There is also a professional aspect to this wisdom. In the workplace, oversharing can undermine credibility. While honesty and authenticity are valuable, constantly sharing personal struggles or frustrations in professional settings can create an impression of instability or lack of professionalism. Smart professionals understand that vulnerability has a place, but it must be used wisely. They know when to seek support and when to maintain composure. They recognize that their words contribute to how they are perceived, and they ensure that when they do share, it is in a way that strengthens their reputation rather than weakens it. Not everything deserves an audience because some moments are meant to be sacred. There are experiences that are deeply personal, moments of joy, pain, triumph, and transformation that are meant to be felt fully rather than broadcasted. In a culture that encourages us to document every moment, it takes strength to simply experience life without feeling the need to prove it happened. Some of the most meaningful moments in life are the ones that no one else sees: the quiet victories, the private struggles, the moments of growth that happen when no one is watching. Smart people understand that their energy is valuable and that sharing indiscriminately can be emotionally draining. They choose their audience carefully because they know that not every listener is a safe space. They understand that being seen and being understood are not the same thing, and they prioritize the latter. They are not withholding information to be secretive or distant, they are making thoughtful choices about where to invest their emotional energy. At the core of this wisdom is self-trust. When we trust ourselves, we don't need constant validation from others. We don't feel the need to share everything in order to be heard. We become comfortable with holding some things close, knowing that our experiences are valid even if they are not witnessed by a large audience. So the next time you feel the urge to share something deeply personal, take a pause. Ask yourself if the audience is right, if the timing is right, and if sharing will truly serve you. Because not everything deserves an audience. Some things deserve to be held, protected, and honored in ways that only you can decide. Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in human relationships, and yet, it is often misunderstood. Many people operate under the belief that trust should be given freely, that we should start from a place of openness and extend our trust to others until they prove otherwise. But smart people understand that trust is not something that should be handed out casually. Trust is not a gift, it is something that is built, something that is earned over time through consistent actions, honesty, and reliability. The idea that we should trust everyone immediately is not only unrealistic but can also be harmful. When we trust too easily, we make ourselves vulnerable to disappointment, betrayal, and even emotional harm. That is why those who navigate life wisely know the importance of discerning who deserves their trust and who does not. Earning trust is a process. It is not a single action, nor is it something that happens overnight. It requires consistency. It requires people to show up, time and time again, demonstrating through their actions that they are reliable, honest, and capable of handling the weight of the trust we place in them. Words alone are not enough. Anyone can say they are trustworthy, but their actions will always reveal the truth. A person who consistently follows through on their promises, who speaks with integrity, and who respects the boundaries of others earns trust over time. But someone who is careless with their words, who is inconsistent in their behavior, or who disregards the feelings and needs of others will quickly show that they are not worthy of that same trust. Smart people pay attention to these patterns. They do not allow themselves to be blinded by charm, grand gestures, or empty promises. They know that trust is built on a foundation of reliability and honesty, and if those qualities are absent, trust should not be given. They observe how people handle responsibility, how they react in difficult situations, and whether their actions align with their words. They understand that just because someone seems nice, or says all the right things, does not mean they have earned the right to be trusted with something important. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that trust should be given simply because of a title, a relationship, or an expectation. Just because someone is a family member does not automatically mean they should be trusted with our deepest thoughts and feelings. Just because someone is a boss or a leader does not mean they have earned the trust of their team. Just because someone has been in our lives for a long time does not mean they have consistently demonstrated trustworthiness. Time alone does not build trust, actions do. Smart people recognize that trust is layered. There are different levels of trust, and not everyone should be given access to the deepest parts of our lives. There are people we trust with small things, casual conversations, minor favors, everyday interactions. And then there are people we trust with the big things, our fears, our struggles, our dreams, and our vulnerabilities. Not everyone deserves access to that deeper level of trust, and the ones who do are the ones who have earned it through their actions over time. Trust is also fragile. It takes time to build but can be broken in an instant. A single act of dishonesty, betrayal, or disrespect can undo years of trust. And while forgiveness is possible, rebuilding trust is often far more difficult than establishing it in the first place. This is why smart people are careful with whom they trust. They understand that once trust is broken, it is not simply about saying, "I'm sorry." It is about proving, through consistent and intentional actions, that trustworthiness can be restored. They do not rush to give trust back to someone who has broken it. Instead, they observe whether that person is willing to put in the work to rebuild it. It is also important to recognize that trust should not be based solely on how someone treats us, it should be based on how they treat others as well. Smart people pay attention to how a person speaks about others when they are not around. If someone is constantly gossiping, breaking confidences, or speaking negatively about their friends and colleagues, it is a clear sign that they cannot be trusted. The way someone treats others is often a reflection of how they will eventually treat us. Another key aspect of trust is emotional safety. Trustworthy people create an environment where we feel safe to be ourselves, to speak honestly, and to express our thoughts without fear of judgment or manipulation. When we trust someone, we are not just trusting them to be honest, we are trusting them to respect our emotions, to handle our vulnerabilities with care, and to support us rather than use our trust against us. Smart people recognize when a relationship or environment does not provide that emotional safety, and they adjust their level of trust accordingly. Trust is also a two-way street. If we expect others to earn our trust, we must also be willing to earn theirs. We cannot demand trust from others if we have not demonstrated that we are trustworthy ourselves. Smart people hold themselves to the same standards they expect from others. They follow through on their commitments, they communicate with honesty, and they handle the trust placed in them with care. They understand that trust is a responsibility, not just a privilege. There is also a difference between being cautious with trust and being closed off. Some people, after experiencing betrayal or disappointment, choose to trust no one. They build walls so high that no one can get in, believing that this is the only way to protect themselves. But smart people know that while trust should not be given freely, it should also not be withheld indefinitely. Healthy relationships require trust, and while it should be earned, it should not be denied to those who have proven themselves worthy. The key is balance, being open enough to build meaningful connections while being discerning enough to protect ourselves from those who have not earned our trust. At its core, trust is about alignment between words and actions. It is about consistency, integrity, and reliability. Smart people do not place their trust in someone just because they want to believe the best in them. They place their trust in those who have demonstrated, over time, that they can be counted on. They understand that trust is a process, not a given, and they are willing to take the time necessary to let it grow naturally. In a world where trust is often broken, where people are quick to deceive, manipulate, or take advantage of others, being cautious with trust is not about being cynical, it is about being wise. It is about understanding that trust is one of the most valuable things we can offer someone, and it should not be given away without thought or consideration. It is about recognizing that while we may want to see the best in people, it is their actions that truly define whether they are worthy of our trust. Smart people know that trust is earned, not given freely. And because of this, they build stronger, more meaningful, and more secure relationships that stand the test of time because they are built on a foundation of true trust. Knowledge is one of the most powerful tools we can possess. It shapes our understanding of the world, helps us make informed decisions, and gives us the ability to solve problems, innovate, and grow. The pursuit of knowledge has driven humanity forward for centuries, leading to advancements in science, technology, philosophy, and every other field imaginable. But knowledge on its own is not enough. True wisdom is found not just in acquiring knowledge, but in sharing it with others in a meaningful and impactful way. There is a significant difference between having knowledge and knowing how to use it for the greater good. Many people believe that accumulating knowledge makes them powerful, that the more they know, the more control they have over situations, decisions, and even other people. But knowledge kept to oneself is limited in its ability to create real change. Wisdom, on the other hand, is understanding when, how, and with whom to share that knowledge in a way that benefits others. It is the ability to translate knowledge into something that uplifts, educates, and empowers those around us. Sharing knowledge is how civilizations have thrived. Every great advancement in human history has come from people who were willing to share what they knew. Scientists share their discoveries, teachers share their lessons, leaders share their experiences, and mentors share their guidance. Without this exchange, knowledge would stagnate, progress would slow, and people would remain isolated in their understanding of the world. Wisdom recognizes that knowledge is not meant to be hoarded but passed on so that it can grow, evolve, and be used to create something greater than what one person alone could achieve. There is also a personal benefit to sharing knowledge. Teaching others deepens our own understanding. When we explain what we know, we are forced to articulate our thoughts in a way that makes sense, reinforcing our own grasp of the subject. It is one thing to understand a concept in our minds, but another to explain it clearly to someone else. This process strengthens our knowledge, making it more practical and applicable. Wise people understand this and actively seek opportunities to share what they know, not just for the benefit of others but to refine their own understanding. However, sharing knowledge wisely is just as important as sharing it at all. Not everyone is ready to receive certain knowledge at the same time, and not every situation calls for sharing information in the same way. Some knowledge is best shared through storytelling, allowing people to connect with ideas on a personal level. Other knowledge is best shared through guidance and mentorship, helping someone learn through experience rather than simply being told what to do. Wisdom is knowing the right time, the right place, and the right method for sharing what we know in a way that will truly be valuable to others. One of the most powerful aspects of sharing knowledge is that it builds trust and strengthens relationships. When we share what we know with others, we create connections. People appreciate those who take the time to teach, to guide, and to help them grow. This is true in friendships, workplaces, communities, and even within families. Knowledge that is shared fosters collaboration, bringing people together to solve problems and achieve common goals. Wise leaders understand this and prioritize open communication and knowledge sharing to create strong, unified teams. Yet, there are those who hesitate to share what they know out of fear of losing an advantage, fear of competition, or fear of becoming replaceable. Some people believe that if they keep their knowledge to themselves, they will always have the upper hand. But true wisdom understands that knowledge multiplies when it is shared. By teaching others, we do not lose power, we expand it. The most successful individuals and organizations are those that embrace a culture of learning and teaching, where knowledge is passed freely and used to elevate everyone involved. Furthermore, sharing knowledge helps create a legacy. The greatest thinkers, innovators, and leaders are remembered not just for what they knew, but for how they used their knowledge to impact the world. Knowledge that remains locked inside one person's mind disappears when they do. But knowledge that is shared continues to live on, influencing others for generations to come. Wise people recognize that their true impact is not measured by how much they know, but by how much they contribute to others through what they know. The process of sharing knowledge also teaches humility. No one knows everything, and even the most knowledgeable individuals have something to learn. When we engage in the exchange of ideas, we open ourselves up to different perspectives, new insights, and a deeper understanding of the world. Wisdom is knowing that learning never ends and that even as we teach, we must also remain students. Those who embrace this mindset are not only better at sharing knowledge, but they also continue to grow in their own wisdom. There is also a responsibility that comes with knowledge. The ability to influence others through what we know is a powerful thing, and with power comes the need for ethical consideration. Wise individuals are mindful of how they share knowledge, ensuring that it is used for good rather than manipulation or harm. They recognize that knowledge can be used to deceive just as easily as it can be used to enlighten, and they make conscious choices to share information in a way that is truthful, constructive, and beneficial. At the heart of it all, the most valuable knowledge is not just academic or technical, it is the kind of wisdom that helps people navigate life. Sharing insights about resilience, emotional intelligence, problem solving, and personal growth has the power to change lives. The wisdom of experience, the lessons learned through failures and successes, and the guidance passed down through generations are some of the most important things we can share with others. In a world that often emphasizes personal achievement and individual success, it is easy to focus solely on accumulating knowledge for ourselves. But the true measure of intelligence is not just in how much we know, it is in how much we give. Wise people understand that knowledge is power, but its greatest strength lies in its ability to be shared. The more we share, the more we grow. The more we teach, the more we learn. And the more we uplift others with what we know, the greater impact we leave on the world. Ultimately, wisdom is found not in the accumulation of knowledge but in the act of giving it away. It is in the moments when we take what we have learned and use it to help someone else find clarity, strength, or direction. It is in the willingness to mentor, to teach, to guide, and to contribute to something larger than ourselves. Knowledge alone is powerful, but wisdom is in the sharing. And those who understand this truth leave behind a legacy that extends far beyond their own. It sounds like you're wrapping up a video or a speech for your audience. Here's a polished version of your closing statement. Thank you all, my friends. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and support my channel. I truly appreciate every one of you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let me know if you'd like a different style or tone. Rocket smiling face with smiling eyes.